Most women have the dream of finding true love, and Chuck has the good luck charm that makes this possible. From fixing the tooth of old men and women, Chuck starts offering his good luck as public service. But can he find his love too? The scene cuts to a party in 1985, when a group of children are playing Spin the Bottle, 7 Minutes in Heaven. Any pair that gets matched by the bottle will be locked in a wardrobe to have some sexual time together. 10-year-old Charlie Chuck Logan secretly prays that the bottle rests on his crush, but after spinning, it rests on a goth girl that he dislikes. When Chuck and the goth girl are locked in the wardrobe together, she reveals that she had always had a crush on him. However, Chuck refuses all her sexual advances. In retaliation, she places a hex on him, saying that once a girl has been with him, to the next she will be true. She pulls off some of his hair and leaves the room angrily. This all sounded like a joke until it started playing out in his life. In the present, Chuck is a successful dentist, running a practice in the office opposite his best friend Stu's plastic surgery business. A typical day at work for him involves working with old people that have issues with their mouth. While for Stu, it was the direct opposite. Beautiful girls flocked around him every day for plastic surgery, and he got to see them naked most of the time. While being sexually intimate with his girlfriend Carol on a beach, Chuck cannot reply that he loves her too. Even while she brought it to his notice, Chuck still couldn't say the words. This prompted her to immediately break up with him. After learning about the reason for the breakup between Chuck and Carol, Stu advises him to try lying to girls to keep his relationships. Stu highlights several examples of couples lying to each other, but Chuck still claimed that there was no way he can say the L word when he was not feeling it. Stu and Chuck attend the wedding of one of Chuck's ex-girlfriends. During the reception, Chuck's ex-girlfriend does the most unexpected thing. She makes a toast to Chuck for being her lucky charm. This gains the interest of his female tablemates. At the same time, Chuck becomes enamored with Cam Wexler, an unusually clumsy, yet attractive and friendly penguin scientist working at a marine mammal park. Chuck's new crush, Cam, stumbles on a waiter inside the wedding, and this causes the drinks to spill on her. Chuck hands her a cloth to dry her body. With the cloth in her hand, she sits on the chair close to Chuck, and this gives him the opportunity to open up a conversation with her. Chuck leaves his office card with Cam, telling her to call him if she needs anything. Meanwhile, Chuck's ex-girlfriend walks up to him to ask about his current relationship and how he was doing, only to find out that he was now single. In fact, his recent ex-girlfriend was already kissing another man behind them. She is saddened by this news and expresses her concerns about Chuck's love life. To further confirm the claims of the bride that Chuck was a lucky charm, his recent ex-girlfriend Carol catches the bouquet at the wedding. Surprisingly, she never even queued up for it. The next day, Chuck's office is full of women. Chuck rushes into Stu's office to ask him if anything was different about him. He could not understand why all the single ladies were suddenly throwing themselves at him. Unknown to him, the news of his good luck charm had spread everywhere and was on most dating sites. No one could disprove the claims about Chuck. While discussing the issue with Stu and walking down the road, they discover that Carol is engaged and already picking her wedding gown, all thanks to Chuck's good luck charm. This is another big surprise for the duo. Meanwhile, Chuck's date that evening wants to have sex with him because of the charm, but Chuck tells her that he would never take advantage of her. His remark causes his date to laugh, and she lets him know that it was actually the other way around. Before Chuck and his date will get down to business, he gets an emergency call from Cam, who chipped her tooth in a work accident at the penguin exhibit. Chuck fixes her tooth, but instead of accepting monetary payment, he asks her out for dinner, but Cam declines as she is not emotionally ready. Cam seems to have a habit of destroying everything she touches. She warns Chuck to stay far away from her because she was dangerous, but he refuses. Cam returns back to Chuck's office to ask for help with her car. While helping her with the car, Cam fires the car at the wrong time, hurting Chuck. When the car finally starts, Cam had mistakenly locked her keys inside it. So Chuck had to drive her to get the spare keys. After what seemed like forever, Chuck finally returns home to find his receptionist Reba in his living room. Apparently, she had used the spare key with her to gain entrance. Reba reminded Chuck that he had promised her years ago that he would always be there to help her. This time around, she wanted him to help her by being her good luck charm. Chuck argued with her that the stories about him were all false, but Reba had already made up her mind. She jumped on him and took off her clothes. Chuck was left with no other option but to give her what she wanted by sleeping with her. When Chuck informs Stu of what happened between him and Reba, Stu is very disappointed. He encourages Chuck to take advantage of this so-called charm to indulge in more guilt-free sex, and Chuck does so. Chuck starts accepting the advances of different types of girls and would readily invite them into his home and office. That was how popular he had become. Chuck was now a solution to the love problem of every girl. After doing this for a couple of days, Chuck still feels empty. He realizes that the girls do not care about him. While sleeping with him, some of the girls were already making plans for their future weddings with the next guy. To them, he was just a tool to get their dream wedding. Chuck could not get his mind off Cam, and he tells Stu that he believes she is the one for him. He stops seeing other girls and even begins to wear a fake wedding ring. Since it was obvious that Chuck still has feelings for Cam, he decides to ask her out. Chuck tells Stu that he believes Cam is the one for him. Chuck takes a bold step by going over to the Penguin exhibition to meet up with Cam. Cam's brother supports Chuck and urges his sister to accept the date. After much pleas, Cam finally agrees to go out with Chuck on a friendly date. Chuck and Cam's relationship deepens, to the point where Cam is ready to have sex with Chuck. At that exact moment when Cam had removed all her clothes, and invited Chuck to come over to the bed, Chuck's phone rings. Thinking that it might be an emergency, Chuck rushes to answer the phone, only to find out that Stu was the one calling. Before he could quickly end the call and focus on Cam, Stu informs him of his new discoveries. Every single woman Chuck had slept with has gotten married. This simply meant that sleeping with Cam right now will cause him to lose her. This was a serious threat that Chuck was not ready to gamble with. Chuck gets cold feet and leaves without any explanation. Cam is devastated and not knowing what to think. She starts blaming herself for being too forward. While in the Penguin exhibition with her brother, Chuck finally calls to apologize for leaving in a hurry. Chuck also adds that he has been sick all this while. Elsewhere, Stu suggests to Chuck that they should test the curse on someone that is less likely to find love. The only person that fits this description is an ugly, morbidly obese woman named Eleanor. Meanwhile, Chuck pretends to be sick and maintains a distant relationship with Cam by phone and by computer video. Observing that Eleanor has not seen anyone, Chuck makes Stu ask her out. Stu hesitates a little because of how unappealing Eleanor was. Besides, he knew the risk involved. After Stu confirms he had gone out with her and that Eleanor hasn't fallen for him, Chuck rushes to Cam's place and they have sex. In Chuck's mind, there was no curse on him. But he was about to wake up to the shock of his life. The next morning, when Chuck sees Eleanor on TV happily kissing another man, he angrily calls Stu, who admits he only pretended to ask her out. According to Stu, he did not want to risk marrying Eleanor. Worried that Cam will now find her true love, he smothers her in increasingly annoying ways. He wakes her up in the morning with a variety of dishes and fills up her office space with flowers and balloons. Chuck designs her car and hangs the sign, "About to wed." To make matters worse, he beats up a guy that Cam chats with thinking that they were an item. Cam approaches Stu and suggests that he carries out a plastic surgery on him to change his face. By doing this, he would automatically become a new person. This would make it possible for him to woo Cam again to become her true love. Stu reminds Chuck that he was into breast enlargement and not surgery on the face. Left with no other option, he continues to embarrass Cam with lots of attention. When Cam had endured enough of all the unnecessary attention from Chuck, she was forced to dump him. While talking with Reba, Chuck sees a bottle spinning on the ground. This suddenly triggers old memories and Chuck remembers what happened while they were kids. Chuck and Stu locate the goth girl's home. Chuck asks her to dismiss the curse, but the goth girl reveals to Chuck that the curse was not truly real, and that her love back then was just a childhood crush. She encourages him to let go of the girl he is interested in, if he truly loves her. Chuck arranges for Cam to meet Howard Blaine, the Penguin expert author that she admires. Later, Stu and his new three-breasted fiancée Laura tell Chuck that Cam is heading to Antarctica with Howard. Chuck catches her on the plane and pleads with her not to go, but Cam explains that she will be back on Wednesday and she is going with both Howard and his wife. Chuck leaves Cam with a ring box with a pebble, a reference to a previous discussion about what a penguin would do to court a lifetime mate. She calls back for him and they kiss. Meanwhile, the goth girl pulls out her old childhood occult keepsake box, and removes a pin from a voodoo doll of Chuck. A year later, Chuck and Cam are in Antarctica together looking at the southern lights while surrounded by penguins. During the closing credits, the house-sitting Stu and Laura find a sex tape involving Chuck, Cam, and a stuffed penguin. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications to help the channel out. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next video.